This is a question I get asked a lot. How do I change careers? How do I go from doing what I do today to doing something completely different, shifting gears into a brand new job, brand new role? There's a pretty straightforward answer to this. And there's a way that you can do this to be far more successful. The most successful people that I've seen in changing careers, meaning they went from something like being an HR guy like me to being a software engineer. Those people change careers within the same company. That's the most straightforward way to do it. Now, the company is looking at you and they're saying, you need to know a base amount of information in order for us to hire you. Now, to be hired into the company itself, you need to have a base amount of knowledge in the thing that they're hiring you to do. So, for example, if I'm being hired as a recruiter, I can be hired as a recruiter at just about any company. But there's something else that's really important within a company. It's not just knowing how to do the thing that you do, but it's knowing how to do it at that place. Actually knowing how to do work within that environment, within that company, being part of that family, that's really valuable too. So if you don't have knowledge in the thing that you want to do, but you do have knowledge of how to do work in the place that you're going to do it, that's also seen as valuable. In fact, it's the easier part to train, the skill itself, than versus how to do things in the company. How to do things in the company, not very well documented. So the bottom line is the way that you change careers, if you want to do a complete shift, is that you do it within the same company. So how do you facilitate this? How do you actually make this happen? I give a pretty significant example where I go from HR to software engineer. Now, you have to start by saying, am I qualified to be a software engineer? Would I know how to do that job? It can't be enough just to say, that's a cool gig, I want to go do it. You have to have some basic knowledge. Software engineer, I really like this example because you have to have knowledge that is pretty well defined, pretty easily defined. I need to be able to write code in a specific language. I need to be able to interface with databases. I need to be able to work in cloud environments, whatever those things may be. I know that those are things that I need to know. Now, if I have a gap, if I don't know how to do those things, how do I get that information? Well, this is where your company comes in again. Your company has a learning and development team. It's something that nobody takes advantage of. It's woefully underused. You use it for your annual compliance stuff. And that's really it most of the time. But they have tons of things to teach you for free. So you can actually learn how to write code. They have partners, they have learning partners in order to make that happen. Every large company has this. So you can actually go and take the training in order to gain the skills and the knowledge that you need. So the practical answer, how do you change careers? The answer is you do it within the same company. How do you make that happen is what we're talking about right now. It starts with assessing, am I qualified to do this job? And if not, how do I gain the skills in order to become qualified? Now, how do you get into that role? You start by building relationships and establishing a mentor. What I would do is I would go identify someone in the software engineering team, say, hey, I really want to be a software engineer. I love the idea of this work. I want to do this work. I've been taking courses in order to learn how to write code. What should I do in order to be considered for a position on your team? And even go a step further, would you consider allowing me to learn from you? Would you consider being a mentor to me as I go through this journey of transitioning from being an HR guy to a software engineer? Would you help me with that? People say yes. They say yes way more often than they say no. If they have any inkling of what to do, they will agree to help you in growing your career, especially when you're saying, I want to be more like you. I want to grow my career to be in your team. I think it's a really great place to work. People want to help. So take advantage of that. Establish a relationship and a mentorship and treat that seriously. Take it very seriously. Now you're learning, you're building the skills that you need. You have a mentor. The next thing you do is you start looking for the right opportunity. So the right job is going to open up. Now, you're going to have to go through a hiring process. And the hiring process, it's a little bit long and drawn out. You need to know what that looks like. I'm going to link to it right here, execcongress.com/hired. It gives you a process flow. It'll be easy to follow. We won't belabor that. So you go through this hiring process, and what you want to do is start looking for these jobs. Step one is you're looking for a job. Step two, you have a resume, and that resume is able to speak to your skills, your training, your experience. So you've just been through this training. You've got this mentor. You get your mentor to help you with the resume. You put the trainings that you've taken in there. You put your time and experience at the company on there. You're set. Now you can start the interview process with an introduction from your mentor to the hiring manager. And that's what I would try to do. I would actually try to start by saying, hey, can you help me find who is hiring for this particular software engineer job? And let your mentor help you and allow you to navigate that process. It's 100% possible to change careers. I know that it is. I see people do it all the time. You can't change careers and companies at the same time. It's very difficult. Let's say you can't. The only way to change careers and companies at the same time is if you go to a place where you have a relationship. So say I wanted to go work for another company where a friend of mine works that I grew up with him. He lived across the street and he knows me really well, trusts me, understands my work ethic, and would hire me, not for my skills, not for my capability, but because there's a level of trust involved in the relationship. And he knows that I'll actually do the work and make the work happen. That is the only way to get hired into a place where it's a new company with a new skill. It's only relationship based. It's 100% driven based on trust and past interactions every single time. So if you have that, you might be able to leverage it, but it's rare. It's very rare for that to happen. Otherwise, I would start the path internally. I would identify what you want to do, identify the gaps that you have, find a mentor, start building your skills, update your resume, start applying for those jobs. If you like this, hit the like button right below. Thank you, and see you next time.